Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today I have another movie review to do for you for the sci-fi movie marathon that I've been doing lately. And the one I'm about to review, it's quite an oldie. Yep, once again I'm reviewing an old movie, which is no surprise because I'm always reviewing old films. And the one I'm going to be reviewing is the one that's titled Light in the Sky. Yep, that's the one I'll be reviewing today, folks. It's an old sci-fi movie I'll be reviewing, but that's okay. I like these old movies anyway. Satellite in the Sky is a 1956 British science fiction film, and I do own this film in my 4 sci-fi movie pack. And of course, as always, I do have to talk about the story of this film. There's a crew in this film that are on a mission. They launched the Stardust, the first manned spaceship with a deadly nuclear weapon on it. And of course, there's going to be a lot of trouble going on. The British in this film launched the world's first orbit vehicle in this movie. A British spaceship is being prepared for launch on a purely scientific mission. However, the astronauts that are on board all have trouble with women. Yep, they sure do in this movie. The British military sends a super bomb along with the mission, which goes horribly wrong and threatens the life of the crew members on ship. Character Larry in this film is called in for a late night meeting in this film, and his elected wife feels pretty bad about it. And the radio man, Jimmy Wheeler, is also frustrated because his girlfriend, whom is a fashion model, must work on their last night before the launch in this film. And the commando, Michael, and yeah, they must do what they do in this film. Yeah, the character Michael, he's harassed by this woman named Kim, whom is a news reporter, and she must, I guess you'd say, do her job in this film, and she has her own prejudice against space travel. She believes it's a bad. Yeah, the men in the Shutter in the Sky film do have some trouble with women. That's for damn sure, and it shows in this film. The characters in this film do attempt to talk about many of the scientific explanations, but the scientific explanations were pretty much standard of the 1950s science fiction movie talk. Oh yeah, there's definitely some trademarks, sci-fi stuff from the 1950s. That's definitely here. A lot of the elements from the old movies of science fiction in the 1950s is definitely here. Oh yes, the scientific crew, these astronauts, they must guide this jet rocket ship on the first space flight. The mission this is the first mission in outer space, and oh yeah, they definitely had to do a lot of research for this, and something does go wrong. Of course, it's an old 1950s movies. Something always goes wrong, right? This was definitely an entertaining little movie. It may not be as popular as some of the other sci-fi movies, but it's still worth the look, folks. It's still worth the look. I enjoyed it. I thought this was actually a pretty good sci-fi film. Yeah, I won't mind watching this again. Yes, sorry. And yeah, yes, it's not a bad movie. I mean, okay, yeah, it might be a little too talky. There's some moments where the conversations in this film stretch for maybe a little too long. I mean, I don't mind if the characters have a conversation, if they interact with each other, that's fine, as long as they have something interesting to say. So, there are quite a bit areas where it did feel pretty padded due to the progress of the story. I did think it had a pretty good story to it, and the acting was pretty solid in here. Maybe it didn't have the greatest acting in the world, but the acting was actually pretty good. The music wasn't too bad either. The music was well composed, I guess. It's pretty much what you expect when it comes to sci-fi films. I did like the concept of it, and it was actually rather well executed. The production value of this film was pretty big. It looks like it actually had a pretty good budget, and the special effects are actually pretty good for when it was made. And I do recommend this film if you're somebody that's really into the whole sci-fi type of thing. Then yeah, I think you might actually quite enjoy it. And yeah, this is quite an older film, and it's I know not a lot of people do bring this up film. Not a whole lot of people bring this up, but it's a good movie. Just because not a whole lot of folks do bring it up doesn't make it a bad movie. And the subject matter of the film, it takes it seriously. The whole thing about space travel, nuclear testing and such. And yeah, when this film was released by Warner Brothers in 1956, and I know the critics back then didn't review this film as a good movie, but I don't see the problem with it really. I actually thought it was actually a pretty good movie. And it's sad to know that this film didn't do so well in the box office, which is a bad thing because, this film wasn't that bad. I thought it was actually pretty good. And if I remember correctly, I don't think this film came on TV that much. It rarely did. It rarely came on television that much. It really didn't. And it remains largely unknown to a lot of people. But again, like I mentioned before, if you're somebody that's into science fiction, this sci-fi type of stuff, yeah, then I do recommend this film, folks. It does have a good budget. The dialogue isn't that bad. It does have an interesting art direction. The set designs were actually really good. I do like the set designs in here. The the outfits the characters will wear, their suits, their dresses, they're all nicely done. And like I said, if you haven't watched this film yet, I do recommend it because it's not that bad of a movie. I mean, okay, yeah, it does have its flaws. I admit that it really does have its flaws, but in my opinion, it does more good than right. And a lot of scenes were nicely shot. The camera angles were nicely done, and yeah, you could kind of tell that they did use miniatures for this film. It's quite noticeable, but the budget for this film wasn't that bad. It has a fairly good budget towards it, and you can tell like it does have a pretty good budget. I mean, yeah, it might come off cheap to nowadays, but don't just dismiss it just because it's old. Just because it's old doesn't mean it sucks. Yeah, yeah, I really did have a good time watching this film, folks, because I didn't think it was that bad, really. The dialogue is pretty good, I guess, but even though sometimes it may come off a bit cheesy here and there, but it's decently written. It may not be no Shakespeare type of dialogue, but it's decently written. And I wouldn't mind watching this again anytime soon in the future. Yeah. And I know that the Amazing Maddie, if you're watching this, I know you like sci-fi type of movies, then I definitely recommend this. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, the pacing's a little slow at times, but overall, it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie at all. And it's definitely one of those, I guess you would say, one of those few treasures I found. It's not one of those movies that people talk about a lot, but that's fine by me. I like talking about movies that are old. Yeah, they're old, and and this movie is something that is not brought up that much. I like talking about those types of movies that are not brought up that much. Some of those, I guess you could say, those obscured type of movies, and I do enjoy watching these type of movies because in a way it's kind of like a port. It's kind of like a porter, like kind of like going back in time in a way. You've seen how people dressed back then, the old 1950s type of style of clothing. That's definitely in this film. The old 50s of cars, what they wore, the type of houses, and such, the TVs. Yeah, that typical 1950s stuff. It's in here, folks. It's in here. Yeah, I came across this set when I was at the stores somewhere. I forget what store I was in, but anyway, I do recommend this. I'll probably review every movie on here. I will review every movie on this box set because again, I like reviewing old movies. I know a lot of people on YouTube much rather review or talk about the newest trend or whatever, but me, nah. I don't follow trends. I start my own. It's okay though. I like standing out from the crowd anyway. But yeah, this film is definitely worth the price. I don't know why the critics back then gave it a bad review because honestly, I didn't think it was that bad of a film really. I quite enjoyed it. I honestly did. And the special effects in here are actually not that bad. It probably has really good special effects like some of the some of the old films from the same time period. And the quality of this film is presented pretty good. That didn't come off too dirty or anything, but I know a lot of old movies have a bad time being printed into a DVD or a Blu-ray. Most of the time, the prints, when they being made into a DVD, they're usually in poor quality. But I guess the good thing is that the picture in here, the quality is actually quite good on DVD. The transfer from the old movie into DVD is actually quite good, thank goodness. And I know this film never really reached the popularity as some of the other science fiction movies like War of the Worlds and such. I know, well, yeah, War of the Worlds is an old sci-fi film, but yeah, yeah, to me it's a shame that this film, Shadow in the Sky, never reached that popularity because, in my honest opinion, it's not that bad of a movie. It really isn't. It really, really isn't. I quite enjoyed it. Sorry for repeating myself, folks. I'm trying to talk about the film without giving too much away. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Sometimes it's difficult to talk about a film without giving too much away, which I don't want to do. I don't want to give away too much in this film because if I spoil too much, people might not like the movie when they finally, watch it for themselves. And yeah, but folks, anyway, check it out. You might find it at Fry's. I doubt that Walmart or Target would carry this movie. Probably at Fry's you might find it. Fry's maybe. I don't know. I haven't been to the store at Fry's for a long time. But anyway, If you can get your hands on this, you won't be disappointed. You can either get it in this box set or just have it on a solo disc. I mean, I guess you can always order it on eBay or Amazon or where the hell you order stuff. If you can't find it in stores or you just don't want to waste your time, just go to Amazon or eBay. You probably could order it from there and have it be delivered to you. It's a good film, folks. Yeah, despite the flaws that it has, it's not that bad of a movie. It really isn't. I mean, granted, it may not be, perfect, but I still thought it was a good film anyway. The characters are likable in their own way. The characters do have their own personality. And like I said, they're on their mission, Stardust, to do they to do the very thing they want to do. I don't want to give up. I don't want to give too much away, but it's not bad, folks. It really isn't. It really isn't. The characters do have their own personality. I really thought they did. Overall, a well-crafted film. I like the editing. The editing in here was actually quite good. The music might be generic, but it fits the movie anyway, so it's like whatever. Overall, Satellite in the Sky gets an overall rating of a 7.3 out of 10. It gets a 7.3 out of 10 from me. And of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care and stay tuned. Yeah. I have more sci-fi movies coming up, folks.